Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Sunday morning to you all. Hope the day has treated you well, the weekend's treating you even better, and the week has treated you even better than that. In this video, we're talking about Spurs and the merry-go-round of nonsensical attitudes towards this Eberechi Eze situation. We're talking about Brian Hill leaving, El Khannouss, some of the boys out on loan. Just want to give a quick update on some of those. Plenty's happened. Well, plenty of departures have happened recently. Obviously, Spurs are somewhat allergic to signing players at the moment. It's a joke. Don't cry. So we're talking about the situation really this summer as a whole. Sitting here, August. What are we? August 10th. August 10th. The situation, in terms of, is this summer good enough so far? We're going to be talking about that. Obviously, we play a very, very important game in a few days' time with the Super Cup as well. So won't be doing the preview today. I'll be aiming to do the preview tomorrow if I can. But yeah, it's going to be one of those games, if you know what I mean. Morning, Sonia, HMQ, Spurs, James. How are we all? Look, let's jump in and let's talk some transfers. And let's start with the Eberechi Eze flavoured news, because Alistair Gold has said there's suggestions around people at Crystal Palace who are expecting Tottenham to make an approach for Eberechi Eze. And obviously, James Maddison having an ACL injury, that's massive. Kulusevski being out injured for potentially long term. Obviously, I know, obviously, Thomas Frank said it's not serious, but anytime we've been told as fans that a player's injured but it's not serious, you have to tax on another 2 or 3 months, because our medical team have, no offense, been subpar for quite a few years now. So I'm assuming Kulusevski to stay out injured for long term. The lack of creativity now in the team is alarming, to say the least. You've also lost Son. So, you're losing a situation where you've got 3 guys who are probably your best 3 creative players. You've lost them all. What are you going to do to replace them? Because currently the squad at present is not good enough in terms of creativity. There's players on their days that have times, and, maybe Khannouss beats a man and does something with it, or Tell or what have you. But, you can't bank on them like you could with Madders, like you could with Kulu, like you could with Son. And so Eze would be the right move for me. I've said it all along. I don't know why we have been allergic to this deal, because actually financially you could have worked at it. Now the situation is Crystal Palace are probably selling Mark Guay to Liverpool. I saw something earlier today that Liverpool seems to be a situation that's going to happen. So again, I've said it all along. If you want Eze, you have to move for him. And look, I still think he'll probably end up at Arsenal, to be fair. And we'll end up with a couple of, I always talk about the list of targets. We'll always miss out on the top 4 or 5 targets. We'll get someone 7th and 8th below, and we'll call that a good deal. And obviously, it never works, by the way. That just doesn't work. There is, just in the last 5 years alone, an abundance of failed moves, an abundance of failed transfer deals, an abundance of subpar players, really. And you pay for quality. That's the big thing in football. You have to pay for quality. And yeah, you mix it in with some projects. You mix them in with some youngsters, and that's perfect. Spurs have never able to see where that balance should lie. It's always, we're going to sign loads of 17, 18, 19-year-olds, or we're signing 30, 31-year-olds because we're trying to try and win now. And there's nothing that seems to be in the middle. And so they need to act. And I'll be real, I'm not blown away by the João Paulinho move. I'm not. But obviously, if Frank wants him, then I want him as well. That should be the attitude we all have. Khannouss I'm not the biggest Khannouss guy, but again, if Frank wants him, I want him as well. But in reality, he's being hung out to dry this summer. This window's been open 2 months, and we've signed 2 first-teamers. Because I don't count Tell and Danso, who was signed in January, by the way, just an FYI. I count actual additions. You've lost Son. Madders is out pretty much the whole season. Kulu's still out injured. We've signed Takai, who came and got injured. We've still got Manor Solomon. Why have we still got Manor Solomon? I just don't get why he's still at Spurs. Daniel Farke, the Leeds manager, has been saying that we need reinforcements, we need this, that, and that, and the other. And he talks about how they've lost Solomon. I'm like, dude, come back and get him. He's there. He's ready for you to come back and get him. Like, I don't get why he's still at Spurs. That should be, when we talk about our Spurs have, issues with cash flow. That was 15 million sitting there ready to go. So, other big boys are moving off of players and getting crazy fees, by the way, like 20 million for Armando Broja to Burnley, who's not worth half of that. Chelsea are moving off of hundreds of millions of pounds of players, and Spurs go, no, we want to hoard them. If we hoard them, it means we don't have to buy new players. That's why we try and give players new contracts when they're later into their career. We are Man United, but like the worst version of them when it comes to player contracts is honestly, they're the sort of tier below them on the contracts because they offer obviously crazy amounts and we don't. But in reality, Thomas Frank is not being supported right now. He's not. He's just not being supported. Khannouss, great. You've signed Khannouss and you've signed Paulinho, who was a few days ago. And I know people go and talk about his game against Bayern Munich. I'm not putting stock into that one game. Like it is a preseason game. I don't really care. I didn't care. It's gonna sound bad. I didn't care about the Arsenal game. I didn't watch it. Didn't care about it. Didn't watch Bayern. Didn't care about it. And purely is I was working for one, so I couldn't watch it. But two, they're preseason. I don't take stock from those preseason. It would be nice to see little bits and bobs, but people getting hung up about a result is always like, it's preseason. That's why I didn't watch the Club World Cup because it's preseason. Like I just didn't care. So, but right now, look, I'll say it. August 10th, I'll be real. Johan Lang needs to start working better and harder because 2 additions into the first team when he's been wanting Thomas Frank for years, knows Thomas Frank's system, you thought you'd have been ready for it in a weird way. It's been 2 months. We've signed 2 players. So we're averaging 1 a month, basically. So we might sign 1 more player before the end of the window. And then you just got to get rid of him, to be honest, because I think Johan Lang has good qualities, but 2 additions into the first team squad is just appalling. It's just appalling. I'm not going to sit here and say it's all doom and gloom. And Spurs could still salvage this window, but that's what Spurs always do. Spurs always try and do a lot right at the end because it's nice and cheap. So Spurs can look like they've done loads of business. And guess what? We've got a cup final in 3 days' time, 4 days' time. Super Cup. It's a cup final. It's a European Cup final again. And we're going into that game with no creative midfielders. Not our starting captain, starting left winger. A Doggy might be injured. Solanke might be injured. Just going to say, if you think Bayern was bad, wait till you see what's going to happen that game. It's not looking good. It is not looking good. But look, on Eze, it's what we need. We need creativity. We need a guy that can, I always talk about, people go, oh yeah, let's get, they get, oh, Khannouss can beat his man, Khannouss can beat his man, Eze can beat his man, and then Eze does something with the ball. So that's why I value Eze way above Khannouss. People just get too hung up about player A can beat player B and dribble past him. Well, I still need player A to do something with the ball, and Eze is that guy. So yeah, I still think he ends up at Arsenal. I do. This window's been really, really average, to say the least. It's not looking good. It is not looking good. Ian, how are you, mate? Our second longest serving player is Brian Hill. Well, I'm coming to him in a minute. We're the worst club in the world when it comes to selling. I know how we can solve the problem. Stop taking punts and signings after having one good season. What did Eze do to Tottenham? I don't know, mate. What did he do? The one player we signed is a youngster that we need to Google. It's not a cup final. Well, technically it is, but all right. Is it Lang at fault, or is it Levy for not providing the right funds or being too tough on negotiation? It's where Chelsea do well. I think no. I've always been really fair on this, and I think people misconstrued it as like, oh, I really despise of someone because I've said they're poor at their job. No, it's a collective fault. There'll be Thomas Frank that has some fault in this as well. It'll be Johan Lang. It'll be Daniel Levy. It'll be Vinay. It'll be them all. They all need to hold blame. It's really weird when people try and like pinpoint someone that has to have the majority of the blame. No, it's a collective decision. It's a collective bit of work there. You're all at fault. There's obviously decades. It's decades worth of information of, failed moves, but you do just need to just put them all at fault because that's just natural. It's like if you work on a group task, right? And it's like one task that one group does it really well, another group does pretty solid, and then you do poorly. It's like, well, it's on your group that you've done poorly. So that's how I'm not putting it solely at one person's feet. It's everyone's at fault, It's weird when people put it like solely on Vinay, and it's like he's been here 6 weeks, but Daniel Levy's not at fault. Cool. You don't understand what's going on then, do you? I like to see it. We can only hope PSG is way out of form. Well, there you go. Eze's a quality player, but he can be inconsistent with crossing. But then what's Khannouss? Khannouss is just terrible at crossing then. I mean, Eze statistically has shown that he can do the business. Yeah, I mean, he scored the winning goal in the FA Cup final. Hey, big occasions, big name players. It's the big thing for him, So, and homegrown. That's the other key thing as well. I know it's a really stupid thing to say, but it is homegrown. It is important. There is rules and regulations that you have to have homegrown players, and that what I'm saying is not academy trained things like that. I'm just saying English. Okay, it does add up. There is a requirement, which always helps. Never hurts. Morning, Zed. How are you? What can we realistically do in the transfer market? We do a lot. That's it. You still got 3 weeks, right? Hang on. When does the transfer window close? The 1st of September at 7 p.m. Okay, so just call it 3 weeks. You've got 3 weeks. A lot can happen in 3 weeks. It's a shame that we've left it all the way till now. The season would have started. The European Cup final would have been and done. We would be late to the party. And I know the whole term is, hey, it's always good to be fashionably late. Yeah, not in business. Not in business, all right? Not in football, all right? Yeah, it's not the way it is. Levy's common dominator. Daniel says he will be missed when he's gone. Why Tottenham can't get Eze when they trigger Gibbs White? Well, the money's there, but I can't lie. This Eze feels like Mark Guehi in January. Paulo Dybala's. All those boys where Spurs have made it out like they're going to make the bid. They're going to go for the player and then obviously lose out on the player. And they go, well, look, we tried. We did our best. And it's like, well, yeah, but this happens every year and you always do this. You always do this as well. Like factually, there is an ungodly amount of information that for the last, let's say just 10 years, you do these sort of things and everyone goes, what? Like Mark Guehi in January wasn't a legit bid because... Well, no, sorry. It could be a legit bid, but nobody understood why it was coming. Crystal Palace were like, what? Where's this come from? Mark Guehi knew nothing about it. Spurs hadn't reached out to Mark Guehi. Like, you know what I mean? Dragon, how are you, mate? Do you have any injury updates on Solanke and a doggy? Again, Solanke's supposedly not a big injury. I don't actually, mate, I've been working, I don't get Spurs YouTubers. I feel like they don't work half the time. I've been working all week this week and I barely have time to even look on Twitter. Some people just have too much time in their hands. So I don't actually know. All I know is it's not serious on Solanke. That's all I know. And that I've also just spat on my mic. So there you go. Can't say it's happening. There's not. Yeah, Wharton's work definitely not happening. Eze has a chance. Wharton definitely not. When are we ever going to get a top tier player under Levy? Well, Romero, I'd give. Romero grew into one. We've had like, I also think like we've had top players. We have like the issue is we don't have enough of them. If you know what I mean. Like we'll have one or two, but sometimes we luck into them, sort of thing. And but like we never really have had that. I mean, the Poch time you could say maybe. You know, he obviously grew into one as well, but when we get them, we don't seem to surround them. That's the big issue. That's the big issue. You think of being harsh on Kudus? I mean, you're talking about Ajax years ago. I talk about the most recent season. I think that's fair. I do it with everyone. I do it with every single player. You know, people get excited about João Palhinha 2 years ago, and I said, "Well, what did he do last season, or do we just ignore the last season?" You know, he's like I said, I support him. He's Frank's guy. I support that. There's nothing wrong with me saying I don't really. He's not for me, but he's Frank's guy, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if I'm the biggest Kudus guy or the biggest anti Kudus guy. I support him. You know, just like the same people that seem to absolutely crap on Brennan Johnson, which I don't get, support him. Just because he's not your guy doesn't mean you crap on him. I don't crap on Kudus. You know, I think he's done some really good stuff this preseason. He's looked good, you know, for preseason, because obviously, you know, you drop your standards in preseason because you're just really trying to get minutes in legs. Still not my kettle of fish, but I want him to prove me wrong. Absolutely. And I'll happily hold that L. Absolutely. You know, I always also reaffirm, like, hey, if I get something wrong, I tell you about it, because everyone knows in this community, me, Rafinha, everyone knows about those two. I was like, I don't want Rafinha. He's not that good. Rafinha then goes and drops a great season. So fat L, and I take that one. You know, just a bit different. I'm happy to be proved wrong. You know, who do you think will sign before the? I do not know. I do not know who will sign. I just don't know anymore. Like, I, you know what I mean? It's not that I've given up the ghost, but yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. After winning that European trophy, I've been quite flat about this club. Just after the parade, I've been really, really flat about this club. And I will be real, I have. I've been glad to be working. You know, I've actually enjoyed working way more, which is it's horrible to say, but it's kind of the situation. You know, this summer has been poor. If anyone disagrees, then by all means disagree. But this summer has been poor. We're European champions. We've not kicked on at all, like at all. You know, Maddison out being injured, Kulu out injured, Son out injured. You're missing what, like 20 to 8, you're missing like 70 to 80 goal contributions already off the bat. So you're worse off already. So, and we haven't improved at all. And I'm not going to like people that go, we're not very good at attacking under Frank and stuff like that. I'm like, give it time. Like he's just come in. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be difficult times. And I've said that about every manager. You don't expect them. Like Ange's first 10 games were a super anomaly. Like that doesn't normally happen unless you're like a big team, right? Like a City who spend all that money. Just expect like some pretty naff results, like losing at home to a team like who's just come out. Like losing at home to Sunderland or something like that. That could happen easily this summer. Just be prepared for it, you know? How do I feel about the game on Wednesday? Oh, we're getting absolutely smashed, mate. I can't lie. PSG are absolutely a creme de la creme of football. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're going to win that game. That's for sure. I'm looking forward to Tuesday night loan roundups. Yesterday's championship games were full of our players. Yes, yeah. Loan roundups back on Tuesday. I can't wait for it myself. Obviously, Jamie Donnelly going out to Stoke and doing the business, which is great to see. But yeah, we've got loads in the championship. Championship's going to be a busy one for me. Every Tuesday, by the way, if you're new or don't know, every Tuesday is the loan roundup for every player out on loan. We've got loads in the championship this season. Lancashire, Devine, obviously Donnelly and Phillips and Yang and all those boys. You know, we've still got, you know, Abbott, Wickham, Ajayi, Demola, Ajayi, yeah. So yeah, loads of players out on loan. There'll be more to come, I expect, as well. So yeah, I look forward to it as well, mate. Isn't what happened on last summer we got to the Eurofinal Poch. Yeah. Wow. flat. Could be great. Eze be a great sign. Good point. I'm Grealish. I'm Grealish never, but I'll support him 100% if he signs Spurs. Yeah, as a thing, like my whole thing is like just because I don't want a player doesn't mean I wouldn't support them. Like we've signed players in the last few years that I've not wanted at Spurs, but I've 100% supported them because that's what you should do. That's what you should do. Al Dente's been a member for 7 months saying, yes, Andy, how you doing, mate? Hope you're having a good weekend. Let's go. Paz, Ravella, and Eze, if only. I'm good, mate. Thank you for asking. The weekend has been nice. Plenty of beers last night. Gym this morning. Go see my gran in a bit. Do some food. Do a food shop. Go to the pub. Watch the Community Shields. There's a solid day to that. What yourself? Can't see as a go Tottenham, which we've got. As a set pieces, homegrown, plus it's creative. You were gutted, we've got Khannouss. He's a great player. Evening Scott, how are we? I finished 16th and not in Europa. They spent 300 million anyway. What happened to FFP? There's more to that United situation than I can explain, but they put more money into the club to allow spending, if you get what I mean. I can understand the mindset of Crowns crapping on player that not only finished season a top scorer, but to play a part of our winning goal. Losing at home against a team that's just been promoted, you do know that we start versus Burnley. Oh, there you go. There you go. That's a defeat, isn't it? Just because I said it. Thought you said gin this morning. Times are tough as a Spurs fan if I'm doing gin in the morning. Anyway, moving on, let's talk a little bit about El Khannouss. So Gary Jacob and Paul Joyce have said that El Khannouss is understood to be a serious option being considered by Tottenham. Obviously, it's good that, only now he's been considered as a serious option. Good to see, lads. Appreciate that. Let's have a look at El Khannouss from last season because there was some good stuff. There was some exciting stuff about him. He's 21 years old. He would be 22 right at the end of the season. He sort of plays attacking midfield, a little bit on the wing. His contract expires in the summer of 2028. Transfer market value at 28 million euros. Not crazy money, is it? Let's have a look from his last season. So in the 24-25 season, he was in the Premier League. He played across the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the EFL Cup. I'm not going to count his one game in the Jupiler Pro League. He played 36 times. He had 3 goals and 5 assists. So 8 goal contributions in 36. So 1 in every 4 last season. Young player, there's obviously talent there. If this was a move that we did alongside a big move, I'd be interested in it. Everton keep advancing in talks for Jack Grealish as priority target. The players open doors to the move and negotiations are underway. There you go. That came out from Bitso Romano. So it won't be going for Jack Grealish either. Basically, if you stick our name next to a player, it just doesn't happen. Just bank it. Kolo Muani a few days ago, that is basically done deal to Juventus. Big up Pure Coys, how are you? Do you think Levy told Gary Neville what not? There would have been a situation where, questions would have been given to the media and they would have gone, you can't ask this, you can't ask that. It happens all the time. All the time. When you're proven, Blau's 22 million release scores. Yeah, it's just, if this deal was like, let's say you got Gibbs White and this was another deal, then I'd be way more excited. But if we come out of this window and he's the attacking player we've got, that is a lack of ambition, in my opinion. And I'm not saying I need a player to spend 70, 80, 90 million to show ambition, but how are you looking to compete is my question with this. If you come out of this window and you've signed Kudus, Paulinho, and El Khannouss, you're not really trying to compete, are you? You're just trying to get back into the top 5 for Champions League football. There's no real competing there, if you know what I mean. It's just a bit crap. We still haven't signed a left back. We've needed a left back for, 2.5 years, and we still haven't signed one. But it's all right. We've still got Ben Davies. Oh, Benny boy. Come on. come on. We need to be doing better than that. Like, we like Ben Davies. Ben Davies is a nice guy. It's all that, but really? 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 You know? Anyway, moving over. What is it? James McAtee flavor news. The Mirror have said that James McAtee is now understood to be an emerging as a potential target for Tottenham Hotspur, obviously following Maddison's injury. Again, that one will come down to price for me because I've seen reports that it's City want 50 odd million. It's like, no. I think he could be a good player, but like, do we really know? More like competing for upper mid-table. I look at Tottenham team and I don't feel excited for the season. Frank is so good at transforming players. Do you think he can turn Johnson and Richie into good footballers? I mean, if you're a Premier League footballer, you are a good footballer, you know. Frank likes Ben Davies. And I like Ben Davies too. And I do. I think I'd like to go for a good pint with Ben Davies. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Apparently Grealish, it won't move from their home in the north. Well, there you go. That's why Everton's a good move then. It's not too far. No, look, in all honesty, it's just stupid, isn't it? You know what I mean? So it is what it is on that side of things. It's kind of mad. Like I am 100% flat from Spurs and into this window, like completely and utterly flat. You know, yeah. No, like obviously you support the club and what have you, but no, I'm not going into this. I can't. I'm just not going into this season with any real energy. You know, but and also I think people need to remember. Like I know Daniel said he wants to win the Champions League and he wants to win the Premier League. Obviously, he's not saying like this next season I want to win both of them. He does obviously win in both of them, but like the distance between us and I mean Bayern Munich the other night, you could see it was apparent. You know, and I think we would have the best centre back on that pitch in Romero, but the midfield's weak, the attack is weak. The back four, I've got no issues with. I like the back four. I like the keeper options, you know, but the midfield and the attack is weak. And it showed massively the gap between us all. Obviously, new manager, that takes time. But yeah, I think there's a situation where Spurs, as much as getting Champions League football this year, it'll be aiming for top 7, top 8 this season. And that's how far we've fallen, by the way. We're a top 6 side, turnover like over £500 million in revenue. You know, we turn over more than Chelsea. We're just behind Arsenal, even though they've got Champions League football and we had Europa League football. When we've got Champions League football, we'd be back ahead of them again. You know, look at all the situation, all the ability, you know, the massive stadium, unbelievable training ground facilities, all this extra revenue coming into the club. And we're talking about finishing 8th or 9th. That's embarrassing. It's just flat out embarrassing. Like we should be talking about, hey, we're competing, you know, for trophies, and you're not going to win a trophy every single season, but you know what I mean. Like you want to compete regularly. I think genuinely, fully optimistic hat on, as much as you could possibly imagine, 5th would be as high as you could possibly think of us, right? And that's like super optimistic. Because people go, hey, we finished 5th with Ange. It's like, yeah, but he had Maddison, he had Son, he had Kulu, he had all the, you know, don't have those players anymore, right? I think, you know, when you talk about realistic, it's like closer to mid-table. You're closer to mid-table than 4th. That's my realistic attitude. And that's embarrassing for this football club. That's how bad this football club has gotten. Jesus wept. Hey, Simon, how are you? Okay, rumour. No, it won't happen. Frank's not a miracle worker. Who would want to buy Richie right now? Saudis. There'll be teams. Palace making fine. It's sad to see my greatest hope for this season is Arsenal drop to 4th. Palace have a better first 11 than us. With the team we have right now, we're competing for relegation. We're not competing for relegation. Anyone thinks we are is an absolute absolute whopper. We can't expect to finish higher than 9th or 10th as things stand. And look, they'll sign a few players. People will feel really good about that and then ignore the fact that we haven't done any real business for 2 and a bit months. Season ended, what, around the 20, is it like 21st of May? Preparation for the summer should have happened on the 22nd of May. I mean, we took our sweet precious time with the Ange situation. That delayed everything. Then we took time getting Frank in. That delayed the situation. You know, behind the 8 ball the whole summer. They should be acting like crazy now. They should be making move after move after move. You know, and they needed to get rid of players, which is great. And obviously a load of players have left on loan. But there's also players sitting in that first team squad that you're thinking, why are they still here? I thought they were going to be going. You know, Frank really likes Bentancur. Cool. Sort the contract. There was chatter near the end of the season that he was getting a new deal. We're now middle of August and we've no idea what's going on there. What's happening with Basuma? What's happening with Solomon? You know, there's so much that still has to happen this summer. And Johan and Levy and Vinay, all of those guys need to pull their fingers out and start working hard now because they have got 3 weeks left of this window to try and salvage it because this window hasn't been good enough. And you can try and tell me that it's been good. The wall's behind me. You can talk there because I'm not really interested in hearing it. It hasn't been good enough. But there you go. Want to finish up with Brian Hill flavoured news. Supposedly, the Corriere dello Sport have said that Bologna have now reached an agreement in principle with Tottenham for Brian Hill after Fabio Paratici had facilitated the deal. The move is an initial loan with an option to buy, but it can become an obligation with certain things being met. Yeah, I mean, it's not shocking. I thought he'd have stayed at Girona. I thought they would have brought him, kept him on, 5, 6, 7 million. It's quite weird it hasn't happened. Just make it like an obligation to buy for 5 million or something like that. Just try and forget about this deal. I thought this was another one that was, I know he got injured, so I have to take a bit of time with it. But I'm like, I thought this was another one that was going to get done, and it just sort of hasn't. It's just, yeah. I know I'm having a bit of moan, and apologies. You already know that I'm way more positive than I normally am than this, but I just feel flat. I was excited when Gibbs White situation. I was like thinking, oh, here we go. Spurs are actually going to try and, do something this summer. We're going to try and compete. And it's like, when did the Gibbs White deal? Hang on. When was Gibbs White medical with Spurs supposed to be? Let's have a look, sorry. Is it 10th of July? 10th, 11th of July? Something like that? A month later. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's I didn't realize it had been that long. Since the medical was agreed, by the way. I'm talking about like when he was supposed to have it on the Friday of that week. Since we signed Khannouss, which was only a few days before that, or a day before that even, we've signed Paulinho on loan. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. I didn't realize it was that bad. Christ. It's been a month. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, that's something. I don't know how many years he's got left on his contract, mate, to be honest. I don't really keep up to date on certain players' contracts. Like I just no offense, Brian Hill. Like obviously you've got nothing against him. I sometimes forget. Did Prashi bring in Hill and Valise? Couldn't tell you, Chief. Couldn't tell you. And take my frustration out of the gym. I went this morning. It was leg day today. So It was a good one. It was a good leg day. It's so bad that I'm struggling to comment. Only Paulinho enough to Gibbs White story. Uh, you know, if we had United signings, I would feel better. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's better than nothing, isn't it? Who do you seriously see Tottenham sign before the chance window closes? Sam, do you know what's mad, right? It's a good question, but it's such a difficult question to answer because I just don't know. Like, I'll be real. Like, I've been busy with work, right? And I don't really check Twitter all that much. Like, and there are there's probably other Spurs YouTubers that are quite frequent with their posting and things like that, and a lot of them probably are like clutching at straws to create content. And I was going to go live, I think Friday evening. I thought I'm not doing that. There's just nothing to talk about, like of any real relevance that I can sit here and do. Like I barely talk in the Discord. Like I'm so busy every single day that I barely get a chance to over the Discord. So I try and open it once a night, sort of thing, just to catch up with anything I've missed. And the guys in there are great, and they repost things, and they chat amongst themselves. And apologies to all of those guys that I'm not as active in there at the moment, and it will change. I will get more active. I will be someone that does go live and things like that. And I'm buzzing for tomorrow. We're going to do a preview for the PSG game. The Tuesday. May do a pre-record for the loan roundup. I'm normally working quite weird hours on a Tuesday, so it's hard to do. But I just can't fabricate content for the sake of it. Because I don't know. I know I'm flat about it, but like I just don't know what there is to talk about. But they find something to talk about, and I appreciate that. Like I appreciate they're trying, and I appreciate maybe they're trying to start movements and things like that. But like, it's the amount of times people going live and things like that, and I'm like, what has there been today that we're talking about? Going live, and they're talking about transfers. I'm like, have I missed something? And then, I scroll through Twitter, I scroll through Discord. I'm like, nothing has happened. I asked, and Jazz will back me. Jazz will just go, oh yeah, nothing's happened. Just like a quick, like I could always go, what have I missed? And they go, nothing. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. This transfer has drained everyone's energy. I have zero excitement for the season. It'll be Elliot or McAtee. I thought Elliot was off to Leipzig, I think, wasn't it? I reckon we'll pay for a mid-English player like Jacob Ramsey. It's not an advantage to let everyone know you're trying to sign. Most rumors are false. Douglas Luiz is proven. I think he's off to Forest, I'm pretty sure. PSG must be quaking in their boots. PSG smashing hate transfer windows. It's an odds content creator. You don't do clickbait, and I like that. Yeah, I don't know. I've never been one to try and fabricate views with stupidity. Even like crap rumors, you'll hear me go, this isn't true. I'll say it, I'll report it, and I then go, this isn't true. Eat chocolate, Andy. I'll go on holiday in 10 days' time. I'm trying to last 10 days of diets. Ignore the beers last night, but I'm trying to diet for 10 more days. And then I can drink cocktails and eat paella, and I can eat all the Spanish food in the world because I'm going to for a week. And I'm going to enjoy that week as much as I possibly can. Quality over quantity. We have to get a 10 in before Burnley. PSG 0, Spurs 2. They'll underestimate us big time. I think they might just knock us for a few. I'm just going to say. I like the look of Nico Paz, but he's another. I like the look of Nico Paz as well, but I swear Real Madrid have a buyback option. I swear they have a buyback option. What we're doing to get to of Eze, Grish, Eze, Elliot, Simmons, Paz, Visser, Paqueta, Kubo, Sonset, and Kalimuendo. I feel like Kalimuendo moves. Elliot's off to Leipzig. Grealish is off to Everton. Eze might be off to Arsenal. Simmons is off to Chelsea. Visser is either off to Saudi or Newcastle. Paqueta, Sunset's a good player, but don't see that one. So I think out of all of that list, the most likely option would probably be, is it Paz? Don't know. Morning, Marcus. We do speak more than Spurs on Discord. Good community. It is absolutely. I love Spain. We'll go there again. Yeah, definitely do. Steve, how are you? Spurs fans think we're going to go get Gibbs White. No. Spurs board should get Eberich, says it. Jan Vista, Dusan Vavic, Douglas Luiz, Nika Paz, Harvey Elliott, Rafael, and we should loan. Jesus Christ, that's a list. Do you actually think we'll sign anyone else? Yes, Marcus, I do. I do. Who that is, great question, but I don't know. But I think we'll sign. Well, I'm trying to be glass half full that we will sign someone. Who it is, I don't know, but I'm going to be glass half full and say we're going to sign 2 more players. There you go. I'm trying to be positive. Here we go. Let's turn this around. Let's turn this around. Let's get positive. We're going to sign 2 players. Don't know who they are, but we're going to sign 2. Real have right to match any bid, and if not, they have a 50% sell-on fee. Go them. That's a hell of a deal. Hell of a deal. If we're signing him for like 50 million, geez, 25 mil. Good on him. Do you have confidence with Eza signing? No. Denise, no kids, please. Need a striker, and that's very positive. We can't even get rid of Basuma and Richarlison. How injury prone will this new signing be? It'll be Ange's fault. I can tell you that. It'll be Ange's fault. But there we go. Look, anyway, thank you so much all for joining me this morning. I need to go to the shop, buy food, get ready, see Gran, go watch football. So hell of a rest of the day for me. Please go and enjoy the rest of your days, the afternoons, the mornings, the evenings, wherever you are in the world. Please look after yourselves. Please take care of yourselves. And we're back tomorrow evening to talk PSG and a preview for the European Super Cup. Take care, everyone. See you then. Peace.